Before the world awakens in that liminal space between night and morning, between darkness and light, between ending and beginning, you find yourself walking along the shore of a still lake, the water like glass, reflecting the first pale hints of dawn. And there, beneath the drooping branches of ancient willow trees, creating a natural shelter, a private refuge from the world, you see Jesus, seated on the damp grass, his back against a tree, his face turned toward the lightening sky. And somehow you know he's been here all night, waiting for you, keeping vigil, watching for your arrival. The willows create a curtain of green, separating this space from the rest of the world, and within this sacred grove, a small fire burns on the sandy shore, its warmth pushing back the morning chill, its light mingling with the growing dawn, creating a space that feels both of earth and of heaven. You can hear the gentle lap of water against the shore, a rhythm as old as time itself, as constant as breath, as faithful as heartbeat. And you can smell the fresh scent of dew on grass, of water and willows, of morning and new beginnings. And you can feel the soft breeze moving through the willow branches, whispering secrets only the dawn knows. And all of it, the water and willows, the fire and the growing light, the breeze and the grass beneath your feet, all of it speaks of new beginnings, of an end to isolation, of the promise that night, no matter how long or dark or lonely, always gives way to morning. As you approach, Jesus looks up, and his smile, it breaks something open in your chest, something that's been locked tight for too long, something that's been holding back a flood of tears and hope and desperate longing. He knows why you're here. He knows the depth of your loneliness, the nights you've cried yourself to sleep, the mornings you've woken to empty silence, the moments you've felt invisible in crowds. He knows, and he's been calling you here, to this quiet place, to sit with him, to discover that you are not, and have never been truly alone. You sink down onto the grass beside him, the ground soft and cool, the willow branches creating a sheltered canopy overhead, and immediately you feel the warmth of the fire reaching your cold hands, your tired face, your weary soul that has carried loneliness like a stone for far too long. Jesus doesn't speak immediately. He simply makes room for you, adjusts his position so you can lean against the tree beside him, and in that simple gesture, in that wordless accommodation, you feel more welcome than you felt in months, maybe years, maybe ever. You've been waiting for morning, he says quietly, his voice soft as the dawn breeze, waiting for this long night of loneliness to end, waiting for light to break through the darkness, waiting for proof that you're not forgotten, that you matter, that someone sees you and knows you and cares that you exist. He turns his head to look at you, and his eyes hold such depths of understanding, such oceans of compassion, and here it comes. He gestures to the eastern horizon where pink and gold are beginning to paint the sky. Morning, just like I promised, faithful as always, arriving right on time, bringing light, bringing warmth, bringing the promise that darkness never gets the last word. You watch the sky changing, the darkness thinning, the light growing, and something in your chest begins to shift, begins to hope, begins to believe that maybe, just maybe, your own long night of loneliness might also be coming to an end. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. Jesus begins speaking, his voice taking on the rhythm of ancient scripture, words that have comforted countless lonely souls through countless dark nights, and saves the crushed in spirit. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted, and saves the crushed in spirit. Near, he emphasizes the word, letting it sink into your consciousness, like rain into thirsty ground. Not far, not distant, not disconnected from your pain, but near, close, present, right here beside you, watching the dawn break. The Lord, the creator of this lake, the one who planted these willows, the one who designed the rhythm of night, giving way to day, he is near to you, especially to you, specifically to those whose hearts are broken by loneliness and isolation and feeling unseen. The lake's surface ripples slightly as a fish jumps, breaking the mirror-like stillness, creating circles that spread outward, and Jesus watches this for a moment before continuing. Your loneliness, he says gently, it's like that stone dropped into still water. It creates ripples that affect everything. How you see yourself, how you interpret other people's actions, how you move through the world. It makes you believe things that aren't true, makes you feel things that don't match reality, makes you carry weight you were never meant to bear alone. He picks up a small stone from the shore, smooth and worn by water, and holds it in his palm. This stone, he says, it's been here for who knows how long, tumbled by waves, shaped by time, made smooth by constant contact with water and sand and other stones. And your heart, it's been tumbled too, shaped by loneliness, worn by isolation, made smooth in some places and rough in others by the constant friction of feeling alone. He closes his hand around the stone. But I'm here to tell you something important, something you need to hear and believe. You are not a stone sitting alone on this shore. You are not isolated and disconnected and forgotten. You are held. He opens his hand again, the stone resting in his palm. You are held by me, always, constantly, eternally, held. Tears begin to form in your eyes, hot and insistent. And Jesus doesn't look away or pretend not to notice. He simply reaches over with his free hand and takes yours, his grip warm and solid and real. It's okay to cry, he says softly. Tears are just the overflow of a heart that's held too much for too long. Let them come. Let them flow like this water. He gestures to the lake. Let them release what needs to be released. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not uncomfortable with your tears or your pain or your loneliness. I'm here, present with all of it, with all of you. And so you cry, really cry, deep sobs that come from a place you didn't know existed, from all those lonely moments you've tried to forget, from all those times you've felt invisible and insignificant, from all those nights you've wondered if anyone would notice if you simply disappeared. And Jesus holds your hand through all of it, his presence steady and sure, his grip never loosening, his attention never wavering, and slowly, gradually, as the sky continues to lighten and the dawn continues to break, your crying subsides, your breathing steadies, your heart begins to quiet. Better, Jesus says with a gentle smile, not better as in you shouldn't have cried, but better as in you've released something that needed releasing. The night is passing, he observes, looking at the sky that's now clearly moving from darkness to light, from night to day, from ending to beginning, and with it, some of the weight you've been carrying, some of the loneliness that's felt so permanent, so unchangeable, so much like your identity, rather than just your circumstance. He releases your hand only to wrap his arm around your shoulders, drawing you close against his side, and you let yourself lean into him. Let yourself accept the comfort. Let yourself rest against someone who doesn't pull away or create distance or make you feel like your need for connection is a burden. God sets the lonely in families. He begins speaking new scripture, new promises. He leads out the prisoners with singing. God sets the lonely in families. He leads out the prisoners with singing. The lonely, he repeats slowly, thoughtfully, those who feel isolated even in crowds, those who go home to empty rooms, those who carry a loneliness so deep it feels like it's carved into their bones. God sets them, not leaves them, not abandons them, not forgets them, but sets them, places them, establishes them, in families. His arm tightens slightly around you, families of belonging, families of connection, families of people who see you and know you and value you. The willows rustle overhead as the morning breeze picks up slightly, and somewhere in the branches a bird begins to sing, the first song of the new day, and it sounds like hope, like promise, like the audible evidence that morning has truly come. He leads out the prisoners, Jesus continues, leads them out of the prison of loneliness, out of the cell of isolation, out of the dungeon of feeling unseen and unknown. And he leads them out not with harsh commands or guilt or shame, but with singing, with joy, with celebration, because your freedom matters that much, your connection matters that much, your belonging matters that much. You sit together in silence for a long moment, watching as more light floods the sky, watching as the darkness retreats, watching as the world slowly wakes, and in this silence, you become aware of something you hadn't noticed before. Jesus is breathing, slow and steady and peaceful, and without thinking about it, without trying, your own breathing begins to match his, to synchronize with his rhythm, to align with his peace. Feel that, he says softly, noticing the change, your breath matching mine. That's what happens when you spend time in my presence. Naturally, without force, without effort, you begin to align with my peace, with my rhythm, with my rest. You stop striving and start receiving. Stop fighting and start resting. Stop trying to earn what I freely give. The fire crackles softly, a companion that's been burning through the night, and Jesus tends it with one hand, while keeping his other arm around you, adding a piece of driftwood, making sure the warmth continues. I want to tell you something about loneliness, he says after a while, his voice thoughtful, reflective. Something I learned firsthand, something I know not from observation but from experience. The morning light catches his face, illuminating features that somehow look both fully divine and fully human. There was a night, he begins, his voice taking on a distant quality, as if he's remembering something painful but important. When I felt more alone than you can imagine, a night when even my closest friends, the ones who promised to stay awake with me, to watch with me, to simply be present, they fell asleep. He pauses, and you see something flash across his face. Old pain, but real pain nonetheless. And then, he continues, his voice quieter now. Then came the cross, where even the Father turned away, had to turn away because of the sin I was carrying. And I cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me? I experienced ultimate loneliness, complete isolation, absolute abandonment. I know what it feels like to be utterly alone. You look up at him, seeing the reality of what he's saying written in his eyes, and suddenly you understand. He's not offering theoretical comfort or abstract sympathy. He's offering understanding born of experience, companionship born of having walked the same dark valley. But here's what I want you to know, he says, his voice strengthening, filling with hope and power, that loneliness, as real as it was, as terrible as it wasn't the end of the story. Because after the abandonment came resurrection, after the isolation came reunion, after the death came life, new life, eternal life that can never be taken away. The sun breaks over the horizon, sending shafts of golden light across the water, and the entire lake seems to catch fire with reflected glory. And Jesus gestures to it with wonder and delight. That, he says, that's what I'm promising you. Not that you'll never feel lonely again. Feelings don't always cooperate with truth immediately, but that your loneliness is not the end of your story. That morning is coming, that light is breaking, that resurrection is happening even now, in this moment, as we sit here together, as dawn defeats darkness one more time. You feel something releasing in your chest, something that's been clenched tight for longer than you can remember. And as it releases, you take a deep breath, deeper than you've breathed in months. And Jesus notices and smiles. There it is, he says with satisfaction, the breath of someone who's beginning to believe they might actually be okay, that they might not be alone after all, that morning might really be breaking in their life. The willows create a perfect frame for the sunrise, and through their graceful branches you watch as the world transforms from darkness to light, from night to day, from ending to beginning. This is what I do, Jesus says quietly, almost to himself. I take nights and turn them into mornings. I take darkness and flood it with light. I take loneliness and transform it into belonging. This is who I am. This is my nature. This is what brings me joy. He releases you from his embrace, but takes both your hands in his, turning to face you more fully, his eyes locking on yours with an intensity that should feel overwhelming, but instead feels like being truly seen for the first time in your life. I want you to understand something crucial, he says, his voice serious but not stern, urgent but not harsh. What's happening here right now in this moment? It's not just a nice experience that will fade when you leave this place. It's a revelation of reality. It's truth breaking through lies. It's you discovering what has always been true but what you couldn't see before. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You will never be alone, because I am with you always. The morning continues its steady arrival, light spreading across the lake like a promise being fulfilled. And Jesus sits beside you in comfortable silence, the kind of silence that exists between people who are truly connected, who don't need to fill every moment with words. And in this silence, you become aware of things you hadn't noticed before. The way the dewdrops on the grass catch the sunlight like tiny prisms. The way the willow branches move in perfect rhythm with the breeze. The way your own heartbeat has slowed and steadied in his presence. This is what I want to teach you, Jesus says after a while, his voice thoughtful and gentle, about presence, about connection, about what it really means to not be alone. He picks up a smooth stone from the shore, turning it over in his hands, examining it as if it holds secrets. Loneliness has taught you to equate presence with noise, connection with constant conversation, relationship with never-ending activity. But that's not how it works. Not really. Not at the deepest level. He holds up the stone, showing you how the morning light illuminates its surface, revealing colors and patterns you wouldn't see otherwise. True presence, he continues, true connection, true relationship, it's more like this stone in the light. It doesn't require the stone to do anything or be anything other than what it is. The light simply reveals what was always there, makes visible what existed but was hidden in darkness. His eyes meet yours with that penetrating gaze that seems to see straight through to your soul. That's what my presence does with you. I don't require you to perform or achieve or become someone else. I simply reveal who you really are, who you've always been, who I created you to be. The lake ripples gently as a fish surfaces, creating concentric circles that spread outward, and Jesus watches this natural phenomenon with the delight of someone who never grows tired of his own creation. See that? He gestures to the expanding circles. One small movement creates effects that reach far beyond the original action. That's what this morning is doing in your life. This encounter, this time of recognizing you're not alone, it's creating ripples that will spread through everything, through how you see yourself, how you relate to others, how you move through the world. You shift slightly, settling more comfortably against the tree. And Jesus adjusts his position too, making sure you have space, making sure you're supported. His attention to these small details speaking volumes about how carefully he watches over you. I notice everything, he says softly, as if reading your thoughts. Every shift, every breath, every flicker of emotion across your face. That's how present I am. That's how attentive I am to you. Not just in this moment, not just in this special place, but always, in every moment, in every place. I am watching, I am noticing, I am caring about every detail of your existence. A bird calls from somewhere in the willows, a clear, pure note that seems to celebrate the morning, and another bird answers, creating a conversation in song. Even they understand, Jesus observes with a smile. Even the birds know that life is meant to be shared, that morning is meant to be greeted together, that existence is richer when experienced in community. He turns to look at you again, his expression serious but warm, and that's what I'm offering you. Not just my presence in isolation, but connection to something bigger, to the great community of creation, to the family of all who belong to me, to the reality that you're part of something vast and beautiful and eternal. The fire has burned down to coals again, and Jesus tends it automatically, adding wood with practiced ease, building it back up without breaking the flow of conversation. Loneliness convinces you that you're separate, he says as he works, that you're disconnected from everyone and everything, that you exist in isolation with insurmountable walls between you and the rest of the world. But that's a lie. You are connected, woven into the fabric of existence, part of my body, my family, my beloved creation. The loneliness you feel, it's not evidence of separation, it's actually evidence of your deep need for the connection that already exists. Your loneliness is homesickness, your soul crying out for what it was made for relationship with me and with others. He finishes building up the fire and returns to sitting beside you, his shoulder touching yours, his presence solid and warm and real. And here's what I want you to understand, he says, his voice taking on greater intensity. The connection you need, the belonging you crave, the end to loneliness you've been seeking. It starts here, with me, with recognizing that I am with you, that I have always been with you, that I will always be with you. This is the foundation, this is the root, this is the source from which all other connection flows. The sun climbs higher, warming the earth, bringing full daylight to the lakeside grove. And with the light comes clarity, the ability to see details that were hidden in darkness. That's what morning does, Jesus observes, watching you look around with new eyes. It reveals, it clarifies, it makes visible what was there all along but couldn't be seen. And that's what I'm doing in your life right now. I'm not creating something new, I'm revealing what has always been true. You have never been alone. My presence has always been with you, but now you're seeing it, recognizing it, beginning to believe it. A breeze moves through the willows, stronger than before, rustling the branches and creating a sound like whispered prayers. And Jesus closes his eyes for a moment, listening, appreciating. Do you hear that? He asks softly. That's the sound of creation worshiping, of the earth, acknowledging its creator, of all things resonating with the truth of my presence. He opens his eyes and looks at you with such tenderness, and you are part of that worship, that acknowledgement, that resonance. When you recognize that you're not alone, when you rest in my presence, when you allow yourself to be held and known and loved, you're participating in the deepest truth of existence, the reality that everything and everyone exists in relationship to me. Your stomach rumbles slightly, a reminder that physical needs continue even in sacred moments. And Jesus laughs. A warm, genuine sound that speaks of delight rather than mockery. Even that, he says, still smiling. Even your body's need for food. It's a reminder that you're human, that you're embodied, that spiritual truth doesn't negate physical reality, but exists alongside it. You need food, you need water, you need rest, and you need connection. All of these are valid needs. All of these matter to me. I care about your body as much as your soul. about your physical comfort as much as your spiritual well-being. He reaches into the folds of his robe and pulls out bread, simple bread that somehow smells like home and comfort and everything good. Here, he says, breaking it and offering you a piece. Eat, nourish your body while we nourish your soul. And as you take the bread and eat, you realize this is communion in its truest sense, sharing food with the divine, being sustained physically while being transformed spiritually, existing in a moment where heaven and earth meet. This is what I want for you. Jesus says as you eat, not just spiritual experiences that feel good, but are disconnected from daily life, but integrated wholeness, where every part of you, body and soul and spirit, is held and cared for, and brought into relationship with me. I don't just want your soul, I want all of you, your hunger and your tears, your joy and your loneliness, your questions and your certainties, all of it. I want relationship with the whole person you are. The bread is filling, satisfying in a way that goes beyond just meeting physical hunger, and you realize that every need you have, physical or emotional or spiritual, is meant to point you toward Him, toward connection, toward relationship, toward the end of isolation. Yes, he says, seeing understanding dawn in your eyes. Yes, every need, every longing, every ache in your heart or body. They're not signs of weakness or failure. They're invitations to connection, opportunities to recognize that you need something outside yourself, something more than yourself, someone who can meet needs you can't meet on your own. The morning is fully established now, no longer dawn but day, and the transformation is complete. What was dark is now light. What was hidden is now visible. What felt uncertain is now clear. And this, Jesus gestures to the bright morning surrounding you. This is a picture of what's happening inside you. Darkness giving way to light, confusion giving way to clarity, loneliness giving way to connection. It's not instant, it's not magic, it's progressive, gradual, but it's inevitable because light always overcomes darkness, truth always defeats lies, presence always dispels isolation. He stands and stretches, then offers his hand to help you up, and as you stand beside him, you notice that you feel different, lighter somehow, as if something heavy you've been carrying has been lifted. Not completely gone, but definitely lighter, less crushing, less all-consuming. That's the weight of loneliness lifting, he explains, seeing the change in your posture, in your expression. It doesn't disappear all at once, but it begins to lose its grip, begins to release its hold, begins to become something you carry rather than something that carries you. He takes your hand and begins walking along the shore, his pace unhurried, his presence peaceful, and you walk beside him, matching his rhythm, finding your stride alongside his. This is partnership, he says as you walk. This is what it means to walk with me through life. Not you following far behind, not you racing ahead, not you wandering off on your own, but us together, side by side, step by step, moment by moment. This is relationship, this is connection, this is the end of walking alone. The lake stretches out before you, vast and calm and beautiful, and Jesus stops at the water's edge, bending down to let the water run over his fingers. This water, he says, watching it flow and ripple, it looks still from a distance, but get close and you see it's always moving, always flowing, always changing while somehow staying the same. That's what my presence is like, constant and unchanging in its essence, but always fresh, always new, always meeting you exactly where you are in each moment. He stands and faces you, both his hands taking yours, his eyes holding yours with such intensity of love that it's almost overwhelming. I want you to make me a promise, he says, his voice serious but gentle. Promise me that when loneliness comes again, and it will, because feelings don't always align with truth immediately, promise me that you'll remember this morning, this lake, this conversation, this moment of recognizing that you're not alone. Promise me you'll speak truth to yourself even when feelings try to convince you otherwise. Promise me you'll return here in your heart, in your memory, in your connection to me, and find strength to keep believing, even when believing feels hard. Tears fill your eyes because you know he's right. You know the feelings will come again. The loneliness will try to return. The lies will attempt to reassert themselves. But something is different now. Something has changed at a level deeper than feelings, and you nod, promising, committing, choosing truth over emotion, reality over perception. Good, he says softly, squeezing your hands. Good, because I'm making you a promise too, a covenant that cannot be broken. I promise that I will be with you always, that I will never leave you or forsake you, that my presence is not dependent on your feelings or your faith or your worthiness. I am with you because of who I am, not because of who you are, and nothing can change that, nothing. The moment stretches. becomes sacred, becomes a turning point you'll remember for the rest of your life. And then Jesus pulls you into an embrace, holding you close, his arms strong and sure around you, and you rest there, letting yourself be held, letting yourself believe, letting yourself accept what he's offering. Connection, belonging, the end of aloneness, and in that moment, standing on the shore of a quiet lake, held in the arms of love himself, you truly know, that something fundamental has changed, that you will never be quite the same, that loneliness may visit but it can never again claim you as its own, because you belong to him, and he belongs to you, now and forever. Amen. The morning light continues to grow, slowly transforming everything it touches, and Jesus continues speaking, his words falling like gentle rain on thirsty ground. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. The ancient words carry power that transcends their age, truth that never grows old or irrelevant or outdated. He will cover you with his feathers. He repeats slowly, letting each word carry its full weight, like a mother bird gathering her chicks when danger approaches, like wings spreading wide to create shelter from the storm. God covers you, protects you, shields you from the harsh winds of isolation and the cold rain of rejection. The willow branches overhead seem to embody this image, drooping low to create shelter, protection, a canopy of grace. And under his wings you will find refuge. He continues, his voice warm with promise. Refuge, sanctuary, a safe place where you don't have to perform or pretend or hide, where you can bring your loneliness and your pain and your fear and know that you will not be rejected, will not be turned away, will not be told you're too much or not enough. His hands squeeze yours gently, emphasizing the reality of what he's saying. The fire burns steadily, its warmth, a physical reminder of his constant presence, and the lake continues its gentle lapping against the shore, a rhythm as reliable as heartbeat, as faithful as breath. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart, Jesus says, his voice taking on strength and authority. When doubts come whispering lies, when fears arise in the night, when loneliness tries to convince you once again that you're forgotten and forsaken, his faithfulness stands between you and those attacks, defending you, protecting you, proving them wrong by his very presence. You realize the sun is now fully above the horizon, the transformation from night to day complete, and yet you barely notice the transition because you were so focused on his words, on his presence, on this moment of connection that feels more real than anything you've experienced in a long time. That's how it works, Jesus observes, noticing where your attention has been. Transformation often happens while we're focused on something else. Healing comes while we're resting in presence, rather than striving for change. Morning breaks while we're watching the one who commands the dawn. He releases your hands and stands stretching slightly, then offers his hand to help you up. And as you stand beside him, you notice something has shifted inside you. Something fundamental has changed. The loneliness is still there. You can feel it, but it's different now. Smaller somehow, less all-consuming, less defining. Do you feel it? He asks, seeing the realization in your eyes, the change, the shift, the beginning of transformation. You nod, unable to quite articulate what's different, but knowing something definitely is. And he smiles with understanding. That's grace. He says simply, that's what happens when truth penetrates lies, when light exposes darkness, when presence defeats isolation. The loneliness doesn't disappear all at once, but it loses its power to define you, to control you, to convince you that this is all there is and all there ever will be. He begins walking along the shore, and you walk beside him, the morning sun warm on your faces, the grass cool and damp beneath your feet, the willows rustling overhead like applause. I want to show you something, he says, leading you to where the water's edge meets the sand, and he bends down to pick up a small stick, using it to draw in the wet sand. Watch this, he says, drawing a circle. This represents your life. Everything you are, everything you experience, everything you feel. He draws another circle around the first one, larger, encompassing, and this, he says, this represents my presence, my love, my constant companionship. He looks up at you to make sure you're following your loneliness. He draws a smaller circle inside the first one. It's real, it's here, it's part of your experience. But look, he gestures to the whole drawing. It's not bigger than you, and you're not bigger than my presence. Your loneliness is contained within your life, and your life is contained within my love. A wave laps against the shore, beginning to wash away the drawing. And Jesus watches this with a slight smile. And even when you can't see it clearly, he says, watching the circles fade, even when feelings wash over it and make it hard to remember, the reality remains. You are held, you are surrounded, you are never outside the circle of my presence and my love. You stand together watching the last traces of the drawing disappear, and something about the metaphor, the visual, the teaching, plants itself deep in your understanding, becomes something you know you'll remember when loneliness tries to lie to you again. There is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Jesus speaks new scripture now, his voice taking on a different quality, more intimate, more personal. There is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. A friend. He turns to face you, his eyes full of warmth and affection. Not just an acquaintance, not just someone who's nice when it's convenient, but a friend. Someone who knows you, who sees you, who values you, who chooses to be with you, not out of obligation but out of genuine desire and delight. The morning breeze picks up, carrying the scent of water and willows and the promise of a new day. Who sticks closer than a brother? He continues. Brothers are connected by blood, by family, by genetics, but this friend is connected by choice, by love, by commitment that goes deeper than any family tie. This friend sticks, adheres, clings, holds on no matter what storms come, no matter what challenges arise, no matter how difficult things get. His hand finds yours again, and he intertwines your fingers, connecting you physically as a reminder of spiritual connection that cannot be broken. I am that friend, he says clearly, leaving no room for doubt or misunderstanding. I am the one who sticks closer than any brother. I am the one who will never leave, never forsake, never abandon, never decide you're not worth the trouble. I am your friend, truly, deeply, eternally your friend. You feel tears threatening again, but these are different tears. Not tears of pain and loneliness, but tears of relief and recognition. And finally, beginning to believe that maybe you really aren't alone after all. Let them fall, Jesus says gently, seeing the tears. Happy tears are just as valid as sad ones. Relief needs expression just as much as pain does. And so you cry again, but this time Jesus wraps you in a full embrace, his arms strong around you, his heart beating steadily beneath your ear. And you realize this is what you've been longing for. Not just anyone's presence, but his presence. Not just any connection, but connection with the one who made you, who knows you, who loves you completely. I've got you, he whispers into your hair. I've got you, and I'm not letting go. You can rest here. You can let it all out. You can stop trying to be strong and just be held. This is safe. This is home. This is where you belong. And in that moment, standing on the shore of this quiet lake, wrapped in the arms of Jesus, with the morning sun warming your face and the willows creating shelter overhead, you experience something you haven't felt in longer than you can remember. You feel at peace. The crying subsides eventually, it always does. And Jesus doesn't rush you or push you away. He just continues holding you until you're ready to pull back. And when you do, his face is close to yours, and his eyes are glistening with tears of his own. I feel it too, he says softly, your pain, your loneliness, your longing for connection. I'm not distant from it. I'm not removed from it. I'm in it with you, feeling what you feel, carrying what you carry, present in every moment of your suffering. He wipes your tears with his thumbs, a gesture so tender it makes you want to cry all over again. But I'm also here to tell you, he continues, his voice strengthening, that suffering is not the end of your story, that loneliness is not your destiny, that isolation is not your identity. You are more than your pain. You are more than your loneliness. You are mine and I am yours, and that changes everything. The sun is higher now, fully establishing day, and the morning that seemed so tentative earlier is now confident and bright, and you realize this is a picture of what he's been talking about. Darkness giving way to light, night surrendering to day, ending transforming into beginning. This is what I do, Jesus says, echoing your thoughts. I bring morning after night, I bring spring after winter, I bring resurrection after death. This is my specialty, this is what I'm known for, this is who I am at my very core, the one who transforms endings into beginnings, who redeems what was lost, who restores what was broken. He takes your hand again and leads you back to the fire, which has burned down to glowing coals, and he adds more driftwood, building it back up, like this fire, he says, watching the flames catch and grow. My presence in your life needs tending, needs attention, needs time and focus, not because it will go out without you. My presence is not dependent on your effort. but because the relationship grows richer, deeper, more real when you invest in it, when you show up, when you make space for connection. You sit down together by the rebuilt fire, the warmth welcome despite the morning sun, and Jesus leans back against the willow tree, and you lean back beside him, both of you watching the flames dance, watching the lake ripple, watching the world wake up around you. This moment, he says after a while, this time we're spending together. This is not time wasted or time that could be better spent being productive. This is the most important thing you could be doing right now, being present, being connected, being in relationship with me. Everything else flows from this. Everything else is built on this foundation. The morning birds are singing now, a full chorus of sound, and Jesus listens with a smile. They know, he says, they understand instinctively what humans have to learn. That the first thing you do when morning comes, the first response to new light and new life, is to sing, to celebrate, to express joy at being alive and being held and being part of something bigger than yourself. He looks at you with that penetrating gaze that sees everything, and that's what I'm inviting you into, he says, not a life without loneliness, not a promise that you'll never feel isolated again, but a life where loneliness is not the dominant note, where isolation is not the baseline, where connection and belonging and being seen and known become the foundation on which everything else is built. Your eyes are growing heavy, despite the morning light, despite having slept through the night, as if your body and soul are finally releasing the exhaustion of carrying loneliness for so long. And Jesus notices, it's okay to rest. He says gently, healing is exhausting work. Transformation takes energy. You've cried, you've felt, you've begun to believe, and now you need to rest. He adjusts his position, making himself more comfortable, making sure you have space to lean against him if you want to, sleep if you need to. He offers, I'll keep watch, I'll tend the fire, I'll make sure you're safe. That's what friends do. That's what I do. I keep vigil while you rest. I watch while you sleep. I protect while you're vulnerable. And so you let yourself drift. Let yourself rest against him. Let yourself trust that you can close your eyes and nothing bad will happen. And as consciousness fades, as sleep claims you, you hear his voice continuing, soft and rhythmic, speaking truth over you, planting promises in the soil of your sleeping mind. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. God sets the lonely in families. He leads out the prisoners with singing. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. There is a friend who sticks closer than a brother, and I am that friend. I am here. I am with you. I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You will never be alone, because I am with you, always, to the very end of the age. The words follow you down into sleep, wrapping around your dreams, becoming part of your subconscious, planting truth where lies have lived too long. And as you sleep, Jesus remains, his arm around you, his presence constant, his love unchanging, keeping watch, tending the fire, protecting your rest, being the friend who sticks closer than a brother, being the Lord who is near to the brokenhearted, being exactly who he promised he would be, now and forever. Amen. In the peaceful rhythm of your rest, in that deep place where sleep and spirit meet, you become aware of a shift in the light. The morning sun has climbed higher, its rays filtering through the willow branches in new patterns, creating a dance of shadow and illumination across your closed eyelids. And Jesus' voice continues, steady as the earth beneath you, constant as the water beside you. I want to tell you more about what loneliness really is, he says, his tone thoughtful and teaching, and what it isn't, because understanding the enemy helps you fight it, helps you recognize its lies, helps you resist its power. His hand remains on your shoulder, that steady anchor to reality, to presence, to connection. Loneliness is not the same as solitude. He begins, his voice taking on the quality of a master teacher sharing hard-won wisdom. Solitude is chosen. It's intentional, time alone for reflection and renewal. It's restorative. It fills you up rather than emptying you out. But loneliness is different. It's isolation that feels forced, connection that's denied, belonging that's withheld. It's not the absence of people that defines loneliness. It's the absence of genuine connection, of being truly seen and known and valued. A cloud passes over the sun, briefly changing the quality of light, then moves on, and the brightness returns. Like that, Jesus observes, loneliness can feel like a cloud blocking the sun, making you forget that the light is still there, still shining, still warm and real and constant. The cloud doesn't eliminate the sun, it just temporarily blocks your view of it, blocks your feeling of it. And that's what loneliness does with my presence. It doesn't actually separate you from me. It just makes you feel separated, makes you forget that I'm still here, still present, still loving you. Your breathing changes slightly, deepening, and Jesus notices immediately, his attention never wavering, his awareness never fading. I see that, he says softly. I see you relaxing more deeply, trusting more fully, releasing more completely. This is what happens when truth begins to penetrate, when lies begin to lose their grip, when you start to believe at a level deeper than conscious thought that you really are safe, really are held, really are not alone. The lake water laps gently against the shore, a sound so constant you've almost stopped noticing it. But Jesus draws your attention back to it. That sound, he says, that endless rhythm of water meeting earth, it's been happening since I spoke this lake into existence. It happened yesterday, it's happening now, it will happen tomorrow. Nothing stops it, nothing changes it. It's faithful, constant, reliable, and that's a picture of my presence with you. Always there, always faithful, always reliable, whether you're paying attention or not, whether you're aware of it or not, whether you believe it or not. He shifts his position slightly, settling in more comfortably for what is clearly going to be a longer teaching. I want you to understand something crucial about the nature of relationship. He continues, because loneliness has taught you lies about this too. It's convinced you that relationship is about performance, about being interesting enough or valuable enough or perfect enough to deserve connection. But that's backwards. That's upside down. That's the exact opposite of how real relationship works. A bird lands on a willow branch above you, singing its morning song. And Jesus pauses to listen, to appreciate, to acknowledge this small piece of his creation. That bird, he says, when it finishes, it doesn't sing to earn its place in creation, to prove it deserves to exist, to convince me to love it. It sings because it's alive, because morning has come, because that's what it was created to do. And your relationship with me, it's not about earning or deserving or proving. It's about receiving, about accepting, about believing that you are loved, simply because I choose to love you, not because you've done anything to deserve it. The fire crackles softly, and Jesus tends it with one hand while keeping the other on your shoulder. His ability to maintain connection while attending to other things, a lesson in itself about how his presence works. I can do multiple things at once, he explains. Sensing your awareness of this, I can tend this fire and keep my hand on you. I can watch over you and observe the birds and maintain the rhythm of the universe. Because I am God, I have infinite capacity for attention, infinite ability to be present. I never have to choose between you and something else, between your needs and someone else's. I am fully present with you while being fully present everywhere and with everyone. Your sleeping form seems to sink deeper into rest at these words, as if your spirit recognizes truth and responds to it even when your conscious mind is offline. This is what I want you to understand, Jesus says, his voice becoming more intense, more passionate, not just intellectually but experientially, in your bones and blood and breath. You are never competing for my attention, never struggling for my presence, never earning my love. It's already yours, fully, completely, eternally yours. This is grace, this is love, this is the foundation of everything. The morning progresses, time marked by the sun's journey across the sky, rather than by any human measurement. And Jesus continues speaking, planting truth, sowing seeds of understanding that will grow in seasons to come. When you leave this place, he says, when you return to your normal life with its routines and responsibilities and relationships, loneliness will try to convince you that this moment wasn't real, that my promises aren't true, that you imagined this connection or invented it out of desperate need. His hand tightens slightly on your shoulder, emphasizing what he's about to say. When that happens, and it will happen, because the enemy of your soul doesn't want you to live in freedom, I want you to remember something. Feelings are not facts. Emotions are real, but they're not always reliable indicators of truth. You can feel alone while being absolutely surrounded by presence. You can feel abandoned while being tightly held. You can feel forgotten while being constantly remembered. Feelings matter, they're valid, they deserve attention, but they're not the ultimate authority on what's real. A fish jumps in the lake, breaking the surface with a splash, then disappearing back into the depths. Like that fish, Jesus observes, reality exists beneath the surface. The fish was there before it jumped. It's still there after it submerges. Its existence doesn't depend on being visible, and my presence with you, it exists whether you can see it or feel it or sense it or not. It's deeper than surface experience, more constant than fluctuating emotion, more real than temporary perception. He pauses, and in the silence you can hear multiple layers of sound: the water, the fire, the breeze in the willows, the birds singing, your own breathing, his breathing, all of it creating a symphony of presence, of life, of connection. This is what the world actually sounds like. Jesus says quietly, when you're paying attention, when you're present to the moment, when you're aware of all the life happening around you and within you, you're never in silence, never in emptiness, never truly alone. There's always this symphony, this evidence of existence, this testimony to presence. Your eyelids flutter slightly, consciousness stirring, and Jesus notices. Not yet, he whispers, rest a little longer, let these truths sink deeper, let this healing go further. There's no rush, no urgency, no pressure to return to activity before rest is complete, and so you settle back into sleep, trusting his guidance, accepting his timeline, releasing your need to control or direct or manage. This trust you're showing, he says, his voice warm with approval, this willingness to rest when I say rest, to stay when I say stay, to receive when I offer. This is relationship. This is partnership. This is the dance of connection, where you follow my lead, not because I demand it, but because you trust me, because you believe I have your best interest at heart, because you're beginning to know at a deep level that I love you and would never harm you or misuse your trust. The sun is directly overhead, now full noon, the brightest point of day, and the light is almost overwhelming in its intensity and clarity. This is what truth does, Jesus explains. It illuminates, it clarifies, it makes everything visible. Some people avoid it because they prefer the comfort of shadows, the safety of half-truths, the security of not seeing clearly. But I'm offering you full light, complete truth, absolute clarity, not to expose you or shame you or condemn you, but to free you, to heal you, to show you reality as it actually is, rather than as loneliness has convinced you it is. He shifts his position, lying back on the grass himself, looking up through the willow branches at the sky beyond. Come here, he says gently, and even in sleep you respond, moving closer, resting your head on his shoulder, and he wraps his arm around you, holding you securely. This is how I want you to rest in me always, he says, his voice rumbling in his chest beneath your ear, not distant, not formal, not carefully maintaining proper boundaries, but close, intimate, fully trusting, completely secure. This is what relationship looks like when fear is removed and love is present. The willow branches sway overhead, creating ever-changing patterns of light and shadow, and Jesus watches them with the appreciation of an artist observing his own work. I created beauty, he muses, not because I needed to, not because creation adds anything to my completeness, but because beauty brings joy, because artistry reflects my nature, because I wanted to, and I created you for the same reason, not because I needed you, not because you complete something lacking in me, but because creating you brought me joy, because you reflect my nature, because I wanted you to exist, I wanted relationship with you, I wanted to love you and be loved by you. Your hand moves in sleep, finding his, holding on, and he intertwines your fingers, connecting to you even in unconsciousness. Even now, he whispers, even while you sleep, even while you're unaware, you reach for connection, you seek presence, you hold on to love. This is how you're wired, how I made you. You were created for relationship, designed for connection, purposed for belonging. Loneliness isn't your natural state. Isolation isn't your intended experience. Connection is your birthright. Belonging is your inheritance. And I am reclaiming that for you, restoring what was lost, healing what was broken, bringing you back to your true nature as my beloved, my treasured, my chosen one. The day continues. Time passing, but feeling almost suspended, as if this moment could last forever. And Jesus continues his vigil, continues his teaching, continues pouring truth into your sleeping spirit, preparing you for the moment when you'll wake, when you'll open your eyes, when you'll have to choose whether to believe what he's told you, or return to the lies that loneliness has taught. And he's doing everything he can, everything love can do, to equip you, to prepare you, to establish truth so deeply in your heart that nothing can uproot it, so firmly in your soul that nothing can shake it, so completely in your spirit that nothing can deny it. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You will never be alone. He is with you, always, to the very end of the age. In the depths of your rest, in that space where sleep and waking blur together, you become aware of Jesus speaking still, his voice a constant thread connecting you to reality, to truth, to the promise that you are not alone. Surely I am with you always, he says, the words carrying the weight of eternal covenant, to the very end of the age. Surely, he emphasizes, his voice soft but certain, not maybe, not possibly, not if you're good enough or faithful enough or deserving enough, but surely, certainly, absolutely, without question or condition, I am with you. Each word plants itself deep, taking root in soil that loneliness has prepared, growing in ground that suffering has made fertile. Your sleeping form shifts slightly, seeking more comfort, and Jesus adjusts immediately, making sure you're supported, making sure the fire's warmth reaches you, making sure every need is met before you're even conscious of having it. Always, he continues, not sometimes, not when you feel it, not when you're aware of it, but always, constantly, perpetually, unendingly, I am with you. The lake continues its gentle rhythm, water meeting shore in endless repetition, a picture of faithfulness that never fails, and Jesus watches it for a moment before speaking again. To the very end of the age, he says, his voice filled with the authority of one who exists outside of time, not just for today, not just for this week or this year, but to the very end, to the completion of all things, to the fulfillment of every promise, to the restoration of all creation. I am with you. The morning is fully established now, the sun climbing higher, warming the earth, bringing life and light to everything it touches, and the transformation from night to day is complete, irreversible. A promise fulfilled that morning always comes after night. This is my covenant with you, Jesus says. Though you're sleeping, though your conscious mind cannot process the words, he speaks to your spirit. To that part of you that never sleeps, I will be with you. I am with you. I have always been with you. This is not based on your performance or your worthiness. This is based on my nature, my character, my unchanging commitment to you. A bird lands nearby, drinks from the lake, then flies away, and Jesus watches this small drama with a smile. Even the birds, he says, even the smallest creatures, they trust that what they need will be provided, that morning will come, that water will be there, and how much more can you trust that I will be there, that I will provide, that I will never leave? Your breathing deepens, your sleep becoming more restorative, more healing, as truth does its work in your unconscious mind, rewriting old narratives, replacing lies with reality, planting hope where despair has lived. This is what I'm doing, Jesus explains, his hand resting gently on your shoulder, while you rest, while you're unaware, while you're not trying or striving or working. I'm healing, I'm restoring, I'm transforming. This is grace, this is how love works, this is who I am. The fire burns steadily, faithfully, never going out as long as Jesus tends it, and he does tend it, carefully, attentively, making sure the warmth continues, making sure the light remains. Just like this fire, he observes my spirit in you burns constantly, never extinguished, never failing, always warm, always bright, always present, and I tend it, I maintain it, I make sure it never goes out, not because of your effort, but because of my faithfulness. The willows rustle overhead, their branches swaying in the gentle breeze, creating patterns of shadow and light, and Jesus looks up at them with appreciation. These trees, he says, they've been here for years, decades maybe, providing shelter, offering shade, creating refuge. They don't strive or struggle or worry. They simply are rooted deep, reaching high, bending with the wind but never breaking. And that's what I want for you, to be so rooted in my love, so established in my presence, that you can bend with life's storms without breaking, that you can face challenges without being destroyed, that you can experience loneliness without being defined by it. Time passes, though in this sacred space, time seems almost irrelevant. Moments, stretching into eternity, while eternity compresses into moments, and through it all, Jesus remains, watching over you, keeping vigil, maintaining his presence, being exactly who he promised he would be. Your sleep begins to lighten, consciousness returning gradually like the dawn that came earlier, and Jesus senses the change. There you are, he says softly, coming back, returning from the deep places of rest. And the first thing I want you to know as you wake, the first truth I want in your mind, as awareness returns, is that I'm still here. I didn't leave while you slept. I won't leave now that you wake. I am here. I have been here. I will always be here. Your eyes flutter open, adjusting to the brightness of full morning, and the first thing you see is his face, still watching over you, still smiling with that warmth that speaks of genuine delight. Good morning, he says gently, again, a second morning in one day. Because every time you wake up to truth, every time you open your eyes to reality, every time you become conscious of my presence, it's a new morning, a new beginning, a new opportunity to live from the foundation of knowing you're not alone. You sit up slowly, stretching, noticing that something fundamental has changed. The loneliness is still there. You can feel it like an old wound that still aches sometimes, but it's different now. It doesn't have the power it had before. It doesn't define you the way it did. It's just a feeling, not a fact, not your identity, not your destiny. You feel it, Jesus observes, seeing the realization in your eyes, the difference, the shift, the transformation that happened while you were sleeping and waking and crying and resting. You're not who you were when you arrived here in the darkness. You're not defined by loneliness anymore. You're defined by love, by presence, by belonging to me. He stands and offers you his hand, and as you stand beside him, you look out at the lake, at the willows, at the shore where you've spent these hours, and you realize this place has become sacred, holy ground where you encountered truth, where you met with God, where everything changed. This place, Jesus says, following your gaze, it will always be here for you. Not physically, you may never come to this exact spot again, but spiritually, in your heart, in your memory, in your connection to me, you can always return here. You can always remember this morning, this truth, this promise, and find strength in it, comfort in it, hope in it. He turns to face you fully, both his hands on your shoulders, his eyes locked on yours, with an intensity that demands attention. Now I want you to listen carefully, he says, his voice serious but not stern, loving but urgent, because what I'm about to say is crucial for the days ahead, for the moments when loneliness tries to return, for the times when old feelings try to convince you that nothing has changed. The morning breeze picks up, carrying the scent of water and grass and new beginnings, and Jesus waits for it to pass before continuing. This experience, this encounter, this time we've spent together, it's not just a nice memory to look back on fondly. It's a revelation of reality. It's truth breaking through lies. It's you discovering what has always been true, but what you couldn't see before. And that truth is this. He pauses, making sure you're fully present, fully listening. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You will never be alone, because I am with you always, to the very end of the age. Tears fill your eyes again, but you don't try to stop them. Don't apologize for them. Don't feel embarrassed by them, because he's taught you that tears are okay, that emotions are valid, that feeling deeply is not weakness but strength. Yes, he says, seeing the tears, yes, let them fall. Let them witness to the truth. You're finally beginning to believe. He releases your shoulders but takes your hands, holding them between his. Now, when you leave this place, he says, when you walk away from this shore, and these willows and this fire, I want you to know that you're not leaving me behind. I'm going with you. I'm in you. I'm surrounding you. My presence is not location dependent. It's not limited to sacred spaces or special moments. It's constant. It's everywhere you are. It's as close as your breath, as near as your heartbeat. The fire has burned down again, just embers now, but still providing warmth, still glowing with life. And like these embers, he says, gesturing to the fire, my presence in your life may not always be as dramatic or obvious as it was this morning, but it's always there, always warm, always ready to flame up again when you pay attention to it, when you add fuel to it, when you invest in the relationship. He pulls you close one final time, his arms strong around you, his heartbeat steady beneath your ear, and you memorize this moment, this feeling, this reality of being held by love himself. Remember this. He whispers, when loneliness comes whispering its lies, remember how this feels. Remember that this is always available to you. Remember that I am always this close, always this present, always this ready to hold you and remind you that you're not alone. He releases you slowly, reluctantly, as if he too treasures this moment, this connection, this time together. Go now, he says, his smile bright despite the emotion in his eyes. Go into your life, go into your world, go into whatever this day and all the days after hold, but go knowing, truly knowing, deeply knowing, that you never go alone. I am with you, I am in you, I am for you, I am committed to you. I am faithful to you. I am your friend who sticks closer than a brother. I am the Lord who is near to the brokenhearted. I am exactly who I've promised to be, now and forever. You take a step away, then look back, and he's still there, still watching, still smiling. And somehow you know that even when you can't see him with physical eyes, he will still be there, still watching, still loving you with a love that will never end, never fail, never fade. I love you, he calls out, his voice carrying across the shore. I love you beyond measure, beyond understanding, beyond expression, and nothing in all creation can separate you from that love. Not loneliness, not isolation, not pain, not fear, not death itself, nothing. And with those words echoing in your heart, with his presence filling your soul, with his love casting out all fear and loneliness and doubt, you step forward into your life, into your world, into whatever comes next. But you step differently now. You step as someone who is loved, who is known, who is seen, who is accompanied, who is never ever alone. The willow grove remains behind you. The lake continues its gentle rhythm. The morning sun continues its journey across the sky. And all of it, testifies to the faithfulness of the one who met you here, who spoke truth to your lonely heart, who promised to never leave you, and who keeps his promises always, to the very end of the age. You are not alone. This is not wishful thinking, not hopeful imagination, not comforting fantasy. This is reality. This is truth. This is the way things actually are, whether you feel it or not. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You will never be alone. He is with you. He has promised. He is faithful. He cannot lie. He will not fail. Walk in that truth. Live in that reality. Rest in that love. You are held, you are known, you are loved, you are accompanied, you are his, and he is yours, now and forever, world without end. Amen and amen. Sleep now, in that truth. Rest in that reality. Let it sink deep into your spirit. Let it transform how you see yourself and your life. Let it heal the wounds that loneliness has caused. Let it plant hope where despair has lived. Let it bring morning where night has reigned too long. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. This is the truth that sets you free. This is the reality that changes everything. This is the promise that holds when all else fails. You are not alone, because he is with you, always, to the very end of the age, forever and ever. Amen.